Good afternoon, everyone. Dan McCalla here with Grant Lyman alongside me. Welcome to qualifying for the penultimate weekend of the 2023-24 Simply Race Touring Car Championship at Knockhill. We've had two cracking races here already today in the Porsche Challenge. If you can't get a chance to go back and watch them, if you weren't able to join us live, please do so. And I won't spoil the results of the races, I will spoil the result of the championship, as Aidan Carter has clinched that title with a race to spare. And we may also have this man on your screen now, Lewis Manley. He has a chance to clinch the Touring Car Championship today. It's been, I think, about 6 years. It's been a long time now since Lewis last won the championship, but he has a chance today to get that over the line as he comes back into the pits at the end of his outlaw. I wonder if he's on the wrong compounded tyres, possibly. Actually, he's gone straight through. Slightly unusual. We have this 15-minute private qualifying session, so all the drivers on their own. It might be that there were a couple of drivers might have got the pits a little bit too early as Manley goes off at McIntyre and Butchers there. Well, the 3:24 lap races coming up. I have Grant Lyman alongside me. Lewis Manley quickest in practice of 50.0, 2 tenths clear of Ben Bennyworth, who's looking very, very quick in the Cupra here at Knockhill. But a few errors from Lewis and from everyone really in the practice session, and underlining what we saw in the Porsches earlier, Grant. It's a very difficult track to get right.
Yeah, pole position is going to be one thing, race victory is going to be quite the other, I think, today. Ben Bennyworth looked very comfortable on the race runs, in my opinion. The Cupra just looks pretty solid around here. Over the curbs, it's riding them nicely, whereas the Fords and the Civic seem to be struggling quite a bit over those curbs, seem to lose quite a bit of grip. Same with the Toyotas. It looks like at the moment the best cars being would either be the Vauxhall, the BMW, or the Cupra.
We'll stick with Lewis Manley for this lap because he got a huge slide coming through the first corner. He is properly hustling it round. John D. Smith making the early running on 51.2, but Manley did a 50.0 in practice. I'm wondering if he might even, on his crest for pole position, be able to just get it into the 49 before the end of this session.
Purple in sector 1 as well.
So Manley coming up to the hairpin at the end of this very short 1.3 mile lap, the second shortest circuit on the calendar after Brands Hatch Indy, and Manley's going to lay down a real gauntlet, 50.9, so definitely more to come there. That's still nearly a second off what he managed in practice. Yeah,
and Ben Bennyworth didn't have a great middle or final sector, 51.4, but it's John Dean Smith in P2 and Aidan Carter P3 and Martin Buchan P5, as Martin Buchan goes P1.
Wow, 50.979, so 7 thousandths quicker than Lewis Manley, but again, we will see those times drop most drivers into the 50s as Buchan goes off at the start of the following lap. Is that Honda he's in?
He's in the Toyota.
He's in Toyota, Martin Buchan, yeah.
So yeah, it's quite an oversteery car, is the Toyota. Very lightweight, very pointy.
Oh, fully airborne through the chicane though, Martin Buchan. Volume on our second screen, you couldn't see it. All 4 wheels off the ground as he came literally airborne through the chicane. Yes. As Lewis Manley comes up to the end of another lap, it's looking like she'll be able to improve, and he does. 50.6. That's getting more close to what we expect. And Aidan Carter pops in a 50.7 as well in the BMW. So just a quick word on the points, because of the drop scored and so on. It's a bit complicated, so we will probably have to calculate this out in race 3. Lewis Manley comes into this weekend with a 26-point lead over Aidan Carter, but because of the dropped scores, where everyone drops their worst rounds in a 3-race round, if Lewis Manley has at least a 21-point lead after race 3, I think it is, then he will clinch the championship today, because the maximum score you can get over 3 races is 60. Aidan's worst round so far this season is 39, so he would go into Brands only able to improve his score by a maximum of 21. That's assuming he wins all 3 races. So there is a definite possibility for Lewis Manley to win the championship today.
As Chris Wilson jumps up to P3, we've got Aidan on quite a tidy lap here, coming through across the line. Doesn't improve, but does get a little bit closer to the Manley time. Right, doesn't improve at all, actually, when it comes to that. And just looking around, it's changing very, very quickly. Buchan was P1, he's now P7.
Yep, and there's less than 3/10 of a second between the top 7 at the moment. But as I said, I'm expecting some improvements for Chris Wilson, just 5,000 short as Aidan Carter spins at the chicane. But Chris Wilson 5,000 short, Lewis Manley 50.689. So yeah, it is, as you'd expect from such a short circuit, one of the tightest qualifying sessions we've seen so far. But still 10 minutes to go, and I think there's still plenty of room for all the drivers in the field to post some improvements.
Yeah, definitely. Lewis in the 19s in sector 1 on this lap, so interestingly a lot slower than everyone else around him. Chris Wilson an 18.3, Aidan 18.2 this time around, as John Dean Smith now jumps into pole position with a 50.63.
Excellent work there by John Dean Smith. Very nearly winning one of the races in the Porsches earlier on after a manful defence. As Chris Wilson comes back into the pits. So John Dean Smith, Martin Buchan's got 8 thousandths short of John Dean Smith's time, 50.639, 58 thousandths of a second at the moment between the top 4.
Very, very competitive qualifying session this. We're not normally used to so many drivers being in contention for pole position. And in practice, to be honest, it did look a little bit spread out, but this is a lot closer than we was expecting.
Yes, and also quite a bit, at the moment, quite a bit slower than we're expecting, because they said these times are still more than half a second off what we saw in practice. Is that because they'll be on the medium tyres, Grant?
Yeah, I mean, they know not to go for the hot laps on the soft tyres because they know they're not going to use them in qualifying. But it must be a factor because, yeah, we're seeing quite a big differential in lap time. I'm just happy to see it's more competitive.
2 races on the mediums and 1 on the softs for the drivers at Knockhill today. Very aggressive line from John Dean Smith because there's more... these cars aren't as stiff as the Porsche, so you can really have a proper go through the chicane. So you're a lot more aggressive with these cars. We'll stay with John. He's had a solid first sector. Coming to sector 2 now. He's about a 10th off his own best time, so not sure he's on for an improvement now. Out of the hairpin, that long drag up the hill towards the line. And no, John's coming to the pits and everything. On for improvement, so put on a fresh set of medium tyres. Lewis Manley just coming to the line now, and he's just a couple of hundredths short of improving, 50.706 on that lap. So still a few hundreds to find. Huge slide. Is he going to get that? Wow, Lewis Manley absolutely smoking up through both of the first 2 corners.
Yes, absolutely on it. Really doesn't want to start P3 in this race, does he? He wants that pole position.
And I can say he's gone well off into the gravel at the chicane as well. So Lewis really pushing it on here. And he tries to clinch the championship. Martin Buchan was at a purple last sector, but that lap had already gone away from him. So Buchan still in the hunt, back with us for the first time since the opening round at Donington all the way back in September. As we come past the halfway point of this session, still John Dean Smith, Martin Buchan, Lewis Manning, Chris Wilson, just 58 thousandths of a second. Aidan Carter up to 5th. There's less than a 10th of a second between the top 5. Probably the closest qualifying session I think we've ever seen here, certainly in my time here.
Yeah, for the Sim Race Touring Car Championship, apologies, I'm just sorting something out in the background. Just noticed a few performance issues on the stream, so apologies for the lack of angle changes there. But yes, definitely in terms of competitiveness, it has to be the best, the closest we've seen other than a round at Brands Hatch Indy perhaps. But yeah, looking very, very competitive still, with anyone really in the top 5 having a shot of pole. And it must be said, if Ben Bennyworth could potentially get a lap together, he could throw himself in there as well. So
JDS onto another flying lap, trying to improve on the 8 thousandths of a second advantage he has. This super tight qualifying section here at Knockhill. Through the right-hand kink of Butchers, then absolutely send it through the chicane, take as much curb as you can, and John's going to hold it, but it's going to cost him a lot of time. It's a shame because it was a purple first sector as well.
Yeah, it was a really good first sector, and obviously lost so much time there in through there, so definitely probably not going to improve this time around though. 16.6, so only a good 3 to 4 tenths off of a really good time.
Yeah, and it's something we talked about when we had Chris Wilson in on the Porsches earlier, that this is probably the one track of all the ones in the season where you can be most guilty of overdriving. If you're really pushing on to try and find an extra tenth somewhere, you can probably do yourself more harm than good.
Yeah, definitely. It's interesting how the qualifying seems to be following a similar pattern to the Porsches as well, in the sense that we've seen some really good laps early in the session, and as the session goes on, as people are just trying to push that little bit more, we're just not seeing the improvements because people are just being too messy on their laps as a whole.
Yeah, Gareth Boyler's improved up to 6th place, just ahead of Ben Bennyworth and Stuart Pringle. There's only a few hundreds between them as well, and also only a few hundreds in Dale Crisp, Josh Vinter and Ben Crisp. A spin for Aidan Carter coming through the first couple of corners. Again, just looking for that one more. He's just done a burst of doing that 1 more tenth of a second that would get him onto pole.
Yeah,
and not the 3rd row.
It's crazy to think 1/10 of a second. I mean, it's far less than 1/10 of a second at the moment. It's definitely the closest we've ever seen. So,
well, John Dean Smith and Martin Buchanan both come across the line with a 50.7, which is 1/10 short of the mark where you need to be at the moment, which just shows how close they're getting to those times. Ben Bennyworth up to 6th now, 50.817. He's less than 2/10 off pole position. Gareth Boyle's improved at 50.8. Gareth Boyle is less than a quarter of a second off pole, and he's 7th.
Yeah, it's must be quite a frustrating thing as a driver to look at your timing sheet and think, right, how far am I off pole? Oh, why am I that far down? And to be fair, you know, even though it is a short circuit, Knockhill is such a technical track that for them to all be this close is insanely impressive. It's so easy to make a mistake around here.
Definitely bodes well for race 1 as well.
Yes, 100%. Like all 3 races today. Race 3 reverse grid's going to be absolutely phenomenal.
Purple sector 1 for Aidan Carter. Purple sector 2 for Chris Wilson, who we're watching. Is he going to be the person to find those extra few? He only needs, what, about 5,000 to get him head of Lewis Manley into third. Ben Bennyworth's just gone third, 50.655, 50.3.
So Chris Wilson jumps to pole position, so fantastic lap for Chris. As we see Aidan coming out of the final corner now, going across the line. It's been a good lap so far for Aidan. Doesn't look like the best final sector. It isn't, but he does improve to P2. But Ben Crisp jumps up to P2.
Wow, Ben Crisp. Where's that come from?
Well, where's the Chris Wilson lap come from?
Big off for Aidan.
Big crash for Aidan. Good thing damage is off today.
Yeah.
But yeah,
Ben
Crisp,
wow, that is absolutely. He's had his shreddies this morning. Other breakfast cereals are available.
Lewis Manley in P7. Did you think you'd
everything shuffled
today?
very, very quickly?
And up to P4
just
now.
Goes up to
Manley.
4th. Ben Crisp's best result this season is 5th. He had a 5th at Brands in race 3 and a 5th in race 2 at Thruxton, and he's 7th in the championship. So for him to go up into 2nd place there, that is, given how tight a second, that's absolutely superb. But Chris Wilson in the Astra has pulled out something really, really special there. A 10th and a half. That's a big gap in the context of this session. Yeah,
pretty decent first sector for Lewis. It's saying purple, but it's not a purple first sector, just to confirm. But it is a good first sector for Lewis, so this could be quite a competitive lap for him.
He's lost 2 tenths to sector 2.
Yeah, not a great middle sector, so see what he does with the final sector.
He's got time for 3 more laps if he wants them, so don't rule Lewis Manley out of this just yet.
No, I mean, literally, I still think anyone within, like, the top 10 at this point. And
he actually managed to pull out an improvement there. That was an absolutely stellar final sector, a 15.8, and it puts really Lewis up into 3rd.
And Aidan Carter with a 18.2 in Sector 1, which is a really nice sector. Again, ignore the purple, it's not a purple first sector, but a miserable 16.8 middle sector. Or is that a good sector? No, it's not a good sector, is it? 16.8.
What, middle sector?
Yeah.
Well, no, not given that Buckett's just done a 16.4.
No.
Aidan Carter to the line, doesn't improve. John Lee Smith's on a personal sector 2. He's on a decent lap, is John. Where's he just come out to the line now? So we watch Chris Wilson, who's now on provisional pole position. And John Dean Smith goes up to 2nd. 50.522. John Dean Smith onto the front row in the Napa Focus. There he is.
And Chris Wilson putting in a really nice middle sector on this lap as well. The 16.1 to potentially improve his lap time even more. The first sector wasn't too great though, so we'll see what you can do going across the line. And it is a 50.5, so it doesn't improve. But
another lap that would have been good enough for provisional pole.
Yeah, if he can string that to get that middle sector in to another really good first and final sector, then
5 podiums this season for Chris Wilson, but no wins. He's 4th in the championship and hoping to overhaul Ben Bennyworth, who's got a drop around still, so he's still got a chance of finishing in the top 3 in the championship. He could have been there or thereabouts. He's had a very, very good first sector, 18.2, and this is actually a crack of a lap. Oh, he's just gone
18.2 for Manley as well.
Little bit greedy from Wilson going to Jim Clark.
18.2 for Bennyworth, 18.2 for Carter. Ben Bennyworth goes up to P3 with that one.
Let's have a look at Lewis Manley. This will be his final lap now. Then 15 seconds left on the clock.
And it's a decent first sector, it must be said, at 18.219. Let's see what he can do in the middle sector. Is he going to steal this in the final possible seconds? Apologies for the very slow camera angles. It seems to be tracking incorrectly there for some reason. There we go.
Checker flag out now. So Lewis Manley coming to the hairpin for the final time in this session. He's not had a great middle sector, but we know he's good through the hairpin.
No
he might
else
still
really improve him through the lap.
Can he at least get himself onto the second row, even if he's going to miss out on the front? Here he comes up the line, and Lewis Manley has not improved and will start at best 5th.
Yeah, not many improvements out there at the moment, though. I don't know if I don't think Martin got across the line in time. He did not. So I think
that's it.
Is as we stand.
So,
yeah, those final laps, no one improved at all. But
wow, that was not the grid we were expecting. With the top 2 in the championship, Lewis Manley and Aidan Carter on row 3. And the interloper Martin Buchan behind them in 7th. Chris Wilson, John Dean Smith, Ben Bennyworth and Ben Crispy are top 4. Very much unexpected.
Our 2 championship contenders, 5th and 6th. And another first-time pole position for Chris Wilson. Like we saw in the Porsche with Jack Bonney today, he's going to hope to replicate what Jack Bonney did in race 1.
Yep, and less than a quarter of a second between the top 7 at the end of that session. Lewis Manley, I'm just going to... is 5th. He's 62 thousandths short of the front row.
He's going to be quite cross, I think.
Yeah, I don't imagine Lewis is going to be in the best of moods after that. So,
no.
But a very intriguing race 1 in prospect very shortly. It's Chris Wilson, John Dean Smith, Ben Bennyworth, Ben Crisp, and your championship leader, Lewis Manley, hoping to clinch the title today, starting 5th ahead of Aidan Carter. Stay with us. Rate the first of 3 touring car races today, round 16 of the championship, coming up shortly. Welcome back to Knockhill, where it's almost time to go racing. The first of 3 Simply Race Touring Car Championship races today, round 16 of the championship. Chris Wilson on pole, ahead of John Dean Smith, Ben Bennyworth and Ben Crisp in a very competitive qualifying session. Less than a quarter of a second separating the top 7. So your top 2 in the championship. Lewis Manley, who could win the championship today, and Aidan Carter are on row 3. Martin Buchan, back for the first time since the Donington season opener in September, is on row 4, ahead of Gareth Boyle. And then it's Stuart Pringle, Dale Crisp, Josh Vincent and Charlie Keir competing a grid of 12 cars, our second biggest grid in touring cars this season. And after has a very tight competitive qualifying session, Chris Wilson on pole. He is one of 3 drivers who's chosen to use the option soft tyre for this race. Ben Crisp and Dale Crisp are the others. And with the combination of the Astra's pace, Grant Lyman, and the fact that he's on the soft tyre and his nearest rivals aren't, Chris, if he gets a good start, should be the hot favourite to win this one.
Yeah, I mean, we saw it in race 1 with the Porsches, with Jack Bonney holding station for most of that race, and I think we're going to see much the same. John's looking strong though, and he's going to want something to prove after some tricky Porsche rounds earlier in the day. But it's so close at the front that it's really anyone's game. I reckon Ben Crisp, I should say, because there's 2 in the top 4, is going to be thinking this is a chance for a podium. So I think we're going to see no holds barred from anyone in this field. I think it could get a bit chaotic, it could get a bit messy. I'm hoping, for some absolutely fantastic racing throughout.
I think the biggest risk to Ben Crisp here is he gets a nosebleed for being that high up the leaderboard.
So
before we get accused of anything, I have just said that to him to his face. I'm not saying anything I wouldn't tell him personally.
Biggest shock of the day, Lewis Manley P5. It has to be said, but it was such a close qualifying session that it wasn't really
5th
a
place,
bad lap.
62 thousandths off the front row.
Yeah, you wouldn't be disappointed with that if you were P2, would you? But to come P5, 62 thousandths off, kind of hits a bit different around here. But it could be a big race of attrition here as we see the cars starting to line up onto the grid.
Yeah, 24 laps the race distance for all 3 touring car races today. And as we saw with the Porsches earlier, it's going to be a race of survival. It's going to be about consistency. It's about keeping those left-hand tyres from overheating. And it's going to be about getting a good run out of the hairpin and getting the drive up this big hill. The last of the cars lines up on the very condensed 2x2 grid. Let's hope we get through first corner safely. Chris Wilson on the inside of the action. John Dean Smith on the outside in the Napa Focus. Round 16 of the championship, the first of 3 Simply Race Touring Car Championships at Knockhill gets underway.
A long hold. Very long hold.
Some cars being adjusted towards the back of the grid. I can see Buchan's car to be put into position, which I think is why we've had the long hold. So sorry for the build-up, and now we're underway. Good start from Chris Wilson. He's got the inside line. John Dean Smith is still alongside him. Lewis Manley's had an awful start. He's gone way back. It's about 8th, 9th, 10th place. It's going to be Wilson, Dean Smith, Bennyworth, Aidan Carter, Carter and Buchan and Gareth Boyle. Was that Boyle or Pringle's gone backwards?
Pringle, it looked like Manley got into the back of Pringle and turned him around. Boyle got very aggressive, and Charlie Keir, Dale Crisp is off as well. Loads of cars off near the back. Very, very messy first lap from those guys. But for the first time in a long time, Aidan Carter's made a position at the start.
He has. An absolute disaster for the championship leaders all the way back in 10th place. Work to do. Remember, your finishing order in race 1 is the grid for race 2 as well. So down to the hairpin for the first time. Wilson, Dean Smith, big send from Ben Bennyworth. Right at the start of the race, very, very assertive from Ben. Can he get the good drive going the title line?
Very assertive, and Ben Crisp trying to follow him through as well.
John Dean Smith getting the run up the hill. So Wilson, Dean Smith, Bennyworth, then Ben Crisp, then it's Martin Buchan 5th, then Carter, Boyle, Vincent Keir. Recovering Lewis Manley is in 10th.
So both Crisps on the soft tyres, and Ben really making the most of them. Chris also making the most of them, pulling out a nice lead of a second at the end of the first lap. Aidan Carter on the inside of Buchan.
Did he get spun round? I think he did.
Buchan,
no, he's still there. How on earth did Martin Buchan not get spun round there? Charlie Keir has gone off. I think Dale Crisp is still off in the background at the first corner as well.
Charlie Keir's off. I think Pringle's off as well. Dale Crisp is off too. Lots of cars off all over the place. Just need to calm down a bit, guys. It's only lap 2. Bit too aggressive from quite a few drivers, but amazing that John Dean Smith still holds that P2 and, if anything, has now extended the gap to Ben Bennyworth in P3.
Yeah, big train behind Bennyworth, Chris, Buchan, Carter, Boyle. Lewis Manley is 6 seconds behind the back of this group, but Chris Wilson got a good start on the soft tyres. He's in the box seat. He's had 5 podiums this season. He hasn't had a win. This is going to be his best opportunity so far. We ride on board with Martin Buchan. Takes a lot of curb coming through the bottom of Duffers Dip into McIntyre. He's in 5th place. He's got Aiden Carter behind him. Ben Chris going wide at McIntyre. Buchan will properly send it through the chicane, take lots and lots of curb. Not as much as Ben Chris did. Oh, someone's got off there.
That's Chris Wilson off.
Chris Wilson, your
That's
leader.
our race leader, so John Dean Smith goes into the lead. I just heard Chris in the background. I think he just made a bit of an error there. I'll quickly check that on the system.
Too much curb at the chicane, I expect. He's rejoined in 5th place, just ahead of Aiden Carter. You can see him there in the blue and purple Astra. And John Dean Smith, who led most of Porsche Race 2 Nally's touring car, Race 1 from Ben Bennyworth, and Ben Crisp on the soft tyre in 3rd. They're only 3 laps in. In fact, Phil, we've had a race worth of action already. So to catch up on. Carter's on, Wilson, is on the recovery chart. He's lining up Martin Buchan on the inside of the first corner, and he's got the job done pretty comfortably, truth be told. Wilson back up to 4th. Even though he's had that off, do not rule him out of winning this race yet, because the advantage got on the soft tyres. Meanwhile, Lewis Manley, fastest lap of the race, on a charge, 51.0. He's in 7th place, and he's 5.5 seconds off this group.
Yeah, Lewis is going to be absolutely going for it now to try and get
Here comes Buchan again.
And yes,
Bit
it was
contact.
just too much curb from Chris Wilson. Got the car into the air and sideways. Didn't really have a hope of catching that. Just too much curb.
Meanwhile, Martin Buchan tried to go up the inside of Chris Wilson. Didn't do it. Went wide. Went off the track, and Aiden Carter's passed him. So Aiden Carter's up to 5th. Buchan back to 6th. Chris Wilson is 4th. He's 2.8 seconds off the lead. And I think he will still, with another, 20 laps to go, we're just coming on to lap 5 of 24, will still fancy his chances of winning this race, but it remains John Dean Smith at the front by just under a second.
Yeah, and Lewis Manley putting in another fastest lap of the race, I believe, as he crosses the line.
Wow, so the leaders, John Dean Smith, Ben Bennett doing, oh, big off. Who was that at the back? Was that Buchan? Yeah, Buchan's gone. Martin Buchan's had a big accident at the bottom of Duffers Dip.
Dropped off from the front. He's now down to where is he?
7th. He's come through in 7th, yeah. So he's behind Lewis Manley. Oh, onto 2 wheels. Chris Wilson again, really trying to push on. That's going to put him under pressure from Aiden Carter. You don't know where to look here. There's so much going on. Classic racing at Knockhill. Wilson goes defensive into hairpin. Carter's going to go all the way around the outside of him. Rolled reverse from Carter's race against Jack Bonney in Porsche Race 1.
So Buchan just got a bit too much curb on the exit of turn 2. Got his foot in and just lost control of the rear end.
Right, so lap times 50.0, 50.1 for 51.0 for the leaders, 50.7 for Lewis Manley. You can see him in the background in the red and white car there in 6th place. But with Aiden Carter only 5th, not too much damage at the moment in terms of Lewis's hopes of clinching the championship today.
Yeah, I can hear a lot of shouting going on outside, but I think it's mostly drivers going off by
themselves. Ben Crisp off.
Oh, Ben Crisp
off the chicane.
So
what a shame.
I was going to say, I think that was going to be Chris Wilson's biggest obstacle of potentially still winning this race. Potentially out of the way now, although Ben Bennyworth and John are not going to prove easy to pass. We saw how hard it was to pass John Dean Smith in the Porsches.
When I said that this was going to be a race of survival, I wasn't expecting everyone to throw it to the scenery within the first 6 laps.
No,
I thought it was going to take a little bit longer than this. So let's recap to where we are. So John Dean Smith leaves Ben Bennyworth by just under a second. Another 3 seconds back to these two. Chris Wilson now back up to 3rd with Aiden Carter 4th. And then another 2.6 seconds behind to Lewis Manley in 5th, who is still, I say, the fastest driver of the track. Martin Buchan recovering in 7th place behind Ben Crisp was even quicker, less than a second to Crisp and Buchan in 6th and 7th.
Yeah, I'm hearing a lot of shouting and a few people saying they're having a few bits of lag, but I don't know if it's affecting the whole field or not. Obviously, certain reports can come in now and then of lag. Unfortunately, it's unfortunate, one of those unfortunate things. The offs I've seen, though, have all looked like driver error.
I've not seen anything
particularly
that looks like a technical issue yet.
That looks like every single off I've seen has looked like they've pushed the limits of the track too much and just lost control.
So also that's just Ben Crisp gone off of the exit of the hairpin. That's allowed Martin Buchan to recover 6th position. So I think the next interesting dynamic in this race, the next few laps, is what's going to happen when, and at the moment it looks almost inevitable, Lewis Manley gets onto the back of these two. He's only a couple of tenths a lap quicker. He's 2.5 seconds behind, but he is still circulating at a quicker pace, and there's still plenty of laps for him to get back onto the back of Aiden Carter, his nearest rival in the championship. John Dean Smith still at the front, still leading by 1 second for Ben Bennyworth. John Dean Smith has won a race this season. Ben Bennyworth has not. But a big opportunity. Bennyworth looking really quick all the way through the afternoon so far in the Cupid run.
Yeah, Bennyworth's been looking really competitive all day, to be fair. So, good, strong result for him here, but still a long way to go in this race.
So lap times this time round, 51.2 for John Dean Smith, 51.0 for Bennyworth, 50.8 for Wilson, 50.7 for Carter, and a slightly slower lap that time for Lewis Manley, only managing a 51.2, and the gap between Carter and Manley has gone back out to nearly 3 seconds. So we're getting to the point now with the race starting to settle down into a bit more of a rhythm. We're on lap 9 out of 24. Wilson and Carter still on the stern, third and fourth. I think Chris Wilson's going to feel so frustrated at spinning out of the lead, but it's so easily done with that chicane. Take a bit too much to try and nail that consistently 24 times, lap after lap after lap, is a phenomenally difficult thing to do for any driver, even for the absolute best in this challenge. It's a very, very testing, in my opinion, one of the most difficult corners of the whole season of any of the tracks that we go to in the Simply Race Touring Car Championship. Wilson, identical lap time to the Foultons last time compared to Ben Bennyworth. Lewis Manley a lot quicker, took over half a second or more out of everyone ahead of him last time round. He's just over 2 seconds now behind Aidan Carter in 4th position. Just a word on Josh Vincent, actually. He's had a relatively trouble-free start. He's in 8th place at the moment. Best finish so far this season, 7th. He had 2 7th places at Croft. He had a good weekend at Croft in the Golf Colours, Josh Vincent, so doing well at the moment. 1.3 seconds ahead of Gareth Boyle, who is in 9th place. Up to the line, and Ben Bennyworth has got a lot closer to the back of John Dean Smith in the last lap or so. Looking a lot racier in the battle for the lead as we go on to lap 11.
Yeah, just keep an eye on the battle between Ben Crisp and Martin Buchan too. Looking like that's going to be a race-long battle as Martin goes completely sideways through turn 1. But yeah, very cool battle between Ben Bennyworth and John Dean Smith for the lead of the race. We've already seen how hard it is to overtake John around here.
Yes, we have. Chris Wilson is starting to reel them in now. He was 3/4 tenths quicker in the first sector of this lap alone. In the second sector, he has done about the same. So don't rule out Wilson just yet. We've got back markers coming to play as well. Stuart Pringle, and I've put the commentator's curse yet again on Josh Vincent because he just spun to the back of the field just behind Stuart Pringle. So it's been a terrible day for commentators' curses. I apologise profusely, but they are coming up to be lapped by the leaders as we come towards the halfway point of this race.
Yeah, I think it was inevitable that we're going to see some cars getting lapped anyway.
Yeah.
It's just, with all the mistakes being made and so on and so forth, it's just one of those things. But yeah, there'll probably be a lot of discussions about the lag after the race. Unfortunately, it is completely out of our control, I'm afraid. It's just one of those things with racing. But sometimes on networks it just happens. It's just unavoidable. So yeah, apologies to the drivers that have been affected by that. Hopefully it's not affecting the racing too much, and it's looking like the issues may have calmed down a bit now because we're seeing a lot less offs, it must be said. Yes,
we come through the hairpin, we come to the halfway point of the race. 12 laps gone, 12 to go. Dean Smith still leads Bennyworth, but Wilson is coming in half a second quicker last time round. This time the pace is up at the start, at the front I should say. They both dipped under the 51-second barrier again. Chris Wilson is 1.9 seconds behind these two, and you can see that Wilson has eased away from Aidan Carter's BMW. Bennyworth, oh dearie me, he went off at McIntyre, got back on, but took a lot of the sausage curve coming through the kink of Butchers towards the chicane, and that's cost him a bit of ground, and that's going to allow Chris Wilson to close in considerably.
Yeah, definitely so. Manley's doing a pretty good race pace out there at the moment, currently faster than the two leaders too. Chris on that last lap lost a bit of time to the leaders, it must be said. So yeah, lap times all over the place with different tyre wears and so on and so forth. The soft tyres are probably going to start to suffer, to be fair, as we get closer to the end of the race as well.
Absolutely. So to the end of lap 13, John Dean Smith, as he was doing in race 2 in the Porsches, when he bravely tried to hold out for 32 laps and came just over 1 lap short of holding off the hordes that were marauding behind him, just missing out and finishing 3rd in the end in that race, but looking for a 2nd win of the season. The first, I would say on merit is half, but he won race 3 at Brands that's benefiting from the reverse grid, so this one would very much be on pace and everything. He's been right up there. I think probably the most competitive showing of the season so far from John Dean Smith, but he's got Ben Benniworth to worry about. He may well have Chris Wilson to worry about as well. Wilson just 1.4 seconds now behind Benniworth in second place.
Yeah, and a really nice first section from Chris this lap.
All very, very wide line from John. Very wide indeed. Has he got the drive up the hill? He's done all right. I don't know whether that was deliberate or a mistake, but Benniworth is noticeably closer as they come across the line with 10 laps to go.
Using the Jack Bonney line there.
Yes, the Jack Bonney line has christened after his fantastic maiden win in Porsche Race 1. They come through Duffus Dip, and yeah, Wilson getting even closer. He was 8 tenths quicker than John Dean Smith last time round, 4 tenths quicker than Benniworth. The gap was 1.3 at the start of this lap. It's going to be even less than that now. It's down to 1 second.
Yeah, super close now, really close. And can Chris keep those tyres in the right range? Because it's going to be all about keeping calm as well, getting to the cars in front and then making those moves while the tyres are still in a good position. Later in the race, it has to be said, I think the mediums will become the stronger tyre. So very deep on the brakes from Chris there. So I think that he's going to have to get the moves done and potentially try and open that gap out as quickly as possible before that tyre advantage fades.
With only 9 laps to go, he doesn't really have a lot of headroom for getting that sorted out. Fastest man on track at the moment is Martin Buchan, who is in 6th place, having had that off. He's less than 8 seconds off the lead, so very much a case of what might have been for Martin Buchan. He'd not had that off early on, racing at his home circuit. A proud Scot, Martin Buchan. It's great to see him back, and finding that the pace at the front really, really hot, and this is proving what a good level and competitive championship this is.
Yeah, and Chris really catching the 2 leaders now, so I think we're going to be in for some fireworks very, very soon. And Benniworth probably seeing that Vauxhall getting closer in his mirrors and thinking, right, I need to get past John.
I thought Benniworth might go and try and send it then, and he didn't.
No,
but it is now 3 for the lead.
I do think he's going to have to do it quite quickly, because to be fair, there is quite the train starting to form, because Aiden and Manley are not too far behind either. Okay, they're probably a bit too far away to mount a challenge for the lead. However, Aiden's not that far back, to be fair.
No, and neither Lewis Manley. He's only 4.4 seconds off the lead. On lap 17 out of 24. Dean Smith, Benniworth, Wilson on the soft tyres. 3 for the lead. Then Aidan is managed behind. That's Josh Vincent. Where's he going to reach?
No.
Oh, he just saw it in time. Josh Vincent about half a second away from causing absolute utter chaos.
I was quite concerned there, I'm not going to lie.
Yeah, that was very, very close. Well, so thankfully Josh realised just at the last minute getting out of the way, and he hasn't disrupted the leaders.
So hopefully everybody's blood pressure at home is now lowered after that. Chris is starting to get quite aggressive with that apex at the final corner to line up a move potentially in the not so distant future. But John probably saw that in front of him and thinking, oh God, please stay there.
Yeah.
So just to see him moving closer to the racing line.
Change of underwear required after race 1, I think, for John Dean Smith. So 7 laps to go, including the lap that we are on. There's just 2.6 seconds between the top 4. Aidan Carter's keeping a watching brief. He's in prime position to mop up any mistakes made by any of the 3 drivers ahead. Dean Smith, Benniworth, Wilson, Focus leads Cupra, leads the Vauxhall Astra, then the BMW. So 4 different makes of car in the top 4 at the moment. Then Lewis Manley's Ford in 5th, and then Martin Buchan's Toyota in 6th place.
So we didn't get a great look at it on that lap 1 incident, but I definitely saw Manley, because he had a bad start, and then I definitely saw him into the back of Stuart Pringle, which pit manoeuvred Pringle around. So I am wondering if there is something to come from the stewards on that, because we didn't see it properly, so I don't want to attention blame, because it could be someone's turned across someone or something like that. It's a lap 1 incident as well, so it's always a bit tricky.
Yep.
But there could be more coming Lewis Manley's way.
I'm sure it's something that Gordy Much in the students' room will be having a look at as we move into the final quarter of this race. Lap 19 to 24, super aggressive on the curbs again for Ben Benniworth, but John went off. Oh, Ben, my goodness me, I thought he was going to lose that. Still on the grass and the gravel, just got it together and unable to capitalise on a rare John Dean Smith error. And John had a bit of a get out jail free card there.
Yeah, and I think Wilson's tyres are just ever so slightly starting to drop off a little bit. Pace has dropped quite a bit from his last few laps. So
Carter's catching up.
Carter is catching up. So I think Chris has lost the best of the softs. Although, saying that, he's now right on the rear.
This is as close as he's been. 5 laps to go. So John Dean with a little bit of breathing space. Chris having a big look at Ben Bennyworth to try and get that second place now. So that would equal Chris Wilson's best result of the season. But he's now got Aiden Carter who's going to have to watch his mirror. It might be a bit of a case of eat or be eaten now for Chris Wilson. They come through the chicane for the 20th time. How much curb does Ben Bennyworth want to take? He's pushing on in that Cupra.
Very brave stuff considering what we saw from Chris Wilson earlier, taking a bit too much of that curb and losing the race lead and probably the race win.
I know Ben's been really frustrated this season, both the Porsche and the touring cars, that he hasn't managed to convert what's often been some very solid pace into a race win. Believe me, he wants it. Big send on the inside from Wilson.
He's got the job done for the looks of it, but Ben Bennyworth's going to get a great overrun, and that might make Wilson a little bit
he might be revving to Carter.
Aiden, yeah. Because look at this.
That's good defensive. Carter goes to the outside. 4 to go. This gives John Dean Smith a lead of a second and a half now. Round the outside, Aiden. Can he do it? No, he can watch. 2 into 1 does not go around Duffy's dip. Very good driving by both.
Fastest lap of the race by Martin Buchan. Puts in a 50.40, which is ridiculously fast.
But that move and everything and the amount of time it cost Bennyworth has given John D. Smith the biggest lead he's had in the whole race.
Yes, it has.
Just over 3 laps to go.
We're seeing a repeat of race 2 of the Porsches here.
Yeah, as John going to convert that into a race win. It's Dean Smith, Bennyworth, Wilson, Carter having a very interested look at the back of Wilson. Going to go for a send off the inside of the hairpin. Oh, Tris has seen him coming. Slams that door shut.
Very assertive there from Chris, but fair play, made it very clear.
Absolutely cracking racing.
Yeah, absolutely brilliant. So
3 laps to go.
3 laps to go, and yeah, I genuinely think Chris's tyres have had their best now, because half a second off the pace from Bennyworth and John Dean Smith on that last lap.
Yeah, there's been a lot of cases here, people like Chris Wilson, Lewis Manley, Martin Buchan, of what might have been. And lots of people with a chance to win the race, but it is John Dean Smith who is sitting pretty at the moment with 2.5 laps to go, still leading Ben Bennyworth by 1.3 seconds.
I still think Lewis should be quite happy though. It was a good recovery after the start of the race. No, he won't be, but he should be.
He won't be.
Like,
knowing Lewis, he won't be.
I know he won't be because Aiden's in front, but it's minimal damage.
And yeah, it's still only minimal water damage. It's still only 2 points damage limitation. That would bring the gap down to 24. That would still be enough at the end of the day for him to clinch the championship. Today, as they come to the line, 2 to go. Dean Smith still with a lead of 1.1 over Ben Bennyworth. Then it's Wilson, Carter, Manley, Buchan. They're still only 7.5 second behind in stick. Ben Crisp is ahead of his brother Dale. Then it's Gareth Boyle, Charlie Keir, Stuart Pringle, and Josh Vincent. After that off is a lap down on the penultimate lap of the race.
I do wonder if John will ease the pace up a little bit, because he is catching the back markers, and I wonder if he'll try and manage this in a way to try and not catch them.
I think you'll be, a lap and a half to go. He should be okay.
But the pace difference is quite large on some laps.
So he's half a second last time quicker than who's catching. Stuart Pringle that's catching.
Should be alright.
Yeah, I think he'll be alright. So there's your top 4 with 1 lap and 1 corner to go. It was at this point, the penultimate lap, that John lost the lead of race 2 in the Porsches. Oh, Wilson on the inside. Big move. Carter around the outside. Is he going to hold on to the place? He does. A little bit of contact as he comes back round. But the 3rd place is still very much up for grabs. He's going up the hill and cross the line to start the last lap.
Nice, great racing from these two. Really fair, really respectful. A little bit of contact, but nothing malicious there.
Oh, yeah. They'll come out of the car and they'll be shaking each other's hands. Then we really enjoyed that.
Well, I don't know if Chris will be doing that, to be fair.
Well, I think he'll enjoy this bit.
He'll enjoy the battle, but I think he's still a little bit upset about what happened earlier. But it is what it is. That is.
Well, we'll keep an eye on that. We'll keep an eye because Ben has closed up and everything. He might be looking for a send into the last corner. They comes into the Jim Clark curve for the penultimate time, just the hairpin left. 3rd place still up for grabs, and I wonder if Ben thinks he's close enough, maybe to go for the win.
Bennyworth, yeah, he's proper closed the gap down.
Here we come, last corner of the race. John is going to get it done. Here we come for 3rd place. Big send on the inside from Carter for 3rd. More contact, but a bit of a spin. As Carter gone round, it's going to be John Dean Smith that wins the race.
Yeah,
Carter has gone round, and Lewis Manning gets 4th place. John Dean Smith wins the race. Ben Bennyworth 2nd. Chris Wilson ends up 3rd. Nathan Carter's being spun round, means actually lost out. Lewis Manley finished 4th, and Martin Buchan has beaten Carter to the line for 5th by 0.02 of a second. Because Aiden Carter recovering a bit of contact, rear-wheel drive car, gets spun round and everything. Think of a racing incident. I don't think there's anything malicious in it. We'll see on the last lap. But Lewis Manning getting involved and Martin Buchan just out-sprinting Aiden Carter to 5th, almost by the narrowest of margins. Ben's Chris recovers to finish 7th. Gareth Ball 8th. Stuart Pringle got 9th. I think there was a bit of an incident between Dale Crisp and Charlie Keir late on, and Josh Vincent bringing up the rear. An excellent race, lots of drama at the start. John D. Smith picking up his 2nd win of the season, making amends for missing out on Porsche race 2. And wow, I think you could probably make a case, Grant, that any of the top 6 there could have won that race at some point or another.
Yeah, definitely. Lots of self-sabotage. I think the best drives were Bennyworth and John, to be fair, by quite a long way. They kept their noses clean. They kept a good pace. They didn't feel the pressure of Chris catching them at the end and Aidan catching them at the end. Kept their heads clean, and yeah, that's how you've got to win these races.
They were the 2 that made the fewest mistakes, and they're the front 2 on the timesheet at the end of the race. And I think that's probably a fair result.
This is John Dean Smith's first race when it isn't a race-free victory.
Yeah, we won a race 3 at Brands, and I think he won a race 3 back end of last season.
So I think this is the first time he's not run a reverse, that he's won a non-reverse grid race.
I think you're absolutely right. He will be absolutely delighted with that. John Dean Smith, the winner from Ben Bennyworth and Chris Wilson. Lewis Manley extends his championship lead to 29 points, if my mental math serves me correctly. He takes another big step toward potentially winning the championship today. John Dean Smith, winner of round 16. Stay with us, round 17 coming up shortly. to Knockhill. We're about to go racing once again, the second of our 3 touring car races today, round 17 of the SimrAce Touring Car Championship, with the drivers starting in the order in which they just finished. Race 1, John Dean Smith taking his first win, not in a reverse grid race. Ben Bennyworth alongside him on the front row. Chris Wilson in third, Lewis Manley, your championship leader, in 4th place on the grid. Martin Buchan in 5th place, Aidan Carter just lost out in the last corner and finished 6th. Ben Crisp and Stuart Pringle are on row 4. Gareth Ball will start 9th, he got a penalty in race 1, we'll cover that in a moment. Then Dale Crisp, Charlie Keir and Josh Vincent rounding out with this 24-lap race. Grant, can you just update me, because I don't actually know who's on the soft tyres for, I think there's only 2 drivers on the softs for this one, isn't there? So Carter starts 6th, Charlie Keir starts 11th. Just to note on Gareth Boyle, he got knocked, I think he got 5-second penalties, knocked him back 1 place. He had a collision with Dale Crisp coming up the hill on the pit straight at the end of the penultimate lap. Gareth completely apologetic for his role in the incident, just moved across and caught the rear quarter of Dale's car and turned him round halfway up the pit straight. Gareth, I was very apologetic to his Jews and very much held his hands up to it, but the penalty did cost him 1 place.
Yep, and just a little bit of just catching up with what I was saying in the last one. Lewis Manley did not get a penalty for the lap 1 incident. It was deemed a racing incident, and so there was a lot going on.
Yeah, we went back and looked at basically it was one incident leading to another about 6-7 times. Everything that happened in those first few corners was interconnected.
Yeah.
So yeah, it was all deemed.
It was just
one of those things.
A lot of drivers, a lot of drivers going for the same piece of tarmac at the same time. It's a very narrow piece of tarmac, so yeah, no further action. So Lewis will be very, very happy about that, and a nice small increase in points to Aidan Carter. Nothing too insane, but
29 is his lead now. He needs a lead of at least 21 after race 3 to clinch the championship today. But I'm sure we will cover that when we get towards the end of race 3. For the time being, race 2, John Dean Smith in the Napa Focus, the blue and yellow car in pole position, the multicoloured Cooper alongside him with Ben Bennyworth, then Chris Wilson and Lewis Manley in row 2. Watch out for that BMW in the top right hand of this corner of the screen. Aidan Carter in 6th. He's on the soft tyres here. We're about to get underway. Here we go. Race 2 begins.
good start from Bennyworth there, but John, I think he's just going to pip him down into the first corner.
Much better
like
start
holding
for Lewis
position.
Manley.
Yep, really good start for Lewis Manley.
Dean
That time up to
Spear.
P3. So jump in, and Carter drops 2 positions.
He might get second here as well. Lewis Manley's going to go for the inside of Bennyworth. Great start for Lewis Manley. Dean Smith, then Manley. Bennyworth's got off. He's wasn't enough room for him. That's allowing Chris Wilson up to 3rd. Bennyworth 4th. Then it's Aidan Carter in 5th place. It looks like possibly Martin Buchan is 6th ahead of Stuart Pringle. And I think he's going to need something Gareth Boyle towards the back of the field.
Yeah, it looks like Gareth just off at the back, 5 seconds down, potentially by himself. We'll try and have a look at that when we can. But yeah, there couldn't have been a better start for Lewis Manley.
Exactly what Lewis would have wanted, both in the medium on Aidan Carter all around the outside. Benny was a big send up there. I think that was Stuart Pringle on Martin Buchan, and I think they've got the Pringle's off at the back.
I saw him going straight on, and it just looked like he crashed by himself or with someone. You could see from the line that he was taking that it wasn't going to work, unfortunately, there.
Yeah, well, Ben Bennyworth's gone wide there, Charles Aidan Carter, all around the outside. Really enough room for 2 cars across alongside Bennyworth.
Oh, and Martin Buchan's just been spun around by Charlie Keir as well, and Dale Crisp is off in the background. Sorry, I know that's not on your screen, but just thought I'd update you. So big news, Martin Buchan down to P10 now.
That's Josh Vincent up to 6th place as a result. Be a best result for him so far. I don't want to curse him again. John Dean Smith's leader, but Lewis Manley's all over the back of him. John's had to go very defensive coming into the hairpin there. We've got a great battle for the lead.
Yep, absolutely fantastic battle for the lead, and Manley's going for the outside line. Looks like he's got a really good run and into first place for Lewis Manley, but can John hold the inside? No, Lewis has got the job done before the start-finish line.
Very nicely done with that nice wide drive over the outside. Lewis Manley takes over the lead ahead of John Dean Smith out the start of lap 3. Ben Bennyworth is ahead of Chris Wilson now. It's not ahead to Bennyworth back up into 3rd. Then Wilson here comes Aidan Carter.
I can hear a lot of shouting from Chris. I'm not sure if he got run wide by Bennyworth there. Wasn't particularly happy because he just sounded very, very unhappy there.
Yeah, Aidan Carter's got through as well. So Carter 4th, Chris Wilson shot back to 5th place. Aidan Carter making good use of the soft tyres here. Only 2 drivers in this race who are on the softs. Towards the end of the 3rd lap, Lewis Manley exactly where he wants to be and potentially taking a big, big step towards winning this championship with a race weekend to spare.
Manley, Dean Smith, 6-10 between them, 3 seconds from Ben Bennyworth in third, then Aidan Carter, then Chris Wilson looking at fifth, and looking just behind in sixth place, Josh Vincent, great start to the race he's had. Another fast start for Lewis Manley, as he starts to stretch out his lead.
Yeah, I'm beginning to wonder if there's a bit of an issue with Chris Wilson's sim. I'm hearing a lot of shouting and his pace seems to be a little bit off at the moment. I'm a bit confused by that, but I can't see anything obvious. I can see some action at race control and it looks like there is a steering wheel at the ready, so I'm not too sure. John D. Smith is off! John D. Smith is off into the wall.
Yeah, John D. Smith is very, very good through this game in race 1, but he hasn't done it in race 2. He's going to rejoin well down the order, and that's left Lewis Manley with a commanding lead now, nearly 4.5 seconds to go. Ben Bennyworth in Eric second, and Aidan Carter up to third, ahead of Wilson. And look, Josh Vincent, to keep on the island, Josh, come on, he's up to 5th place. It would be his best ever result. John has rejoined in 6th place, just ahead of Charlie Keir. Martin Buckham's working his way through, fastest up the race last time round. He's up to 8th.
Yeah, and John's going to be a bit under pressure here from Charlie Keir going into turn number 1 as well. Lots going on all over the circuit at the moment.
Yeah, that's 6th, 7th, 8th, 9th, Dean Smith, Keir, Buchan, who as you can see has just got past.
Oh, Vincent's just gone off a little bit.
Back into 8th spot.
Little mistake from Josh Vincent there. Nothing too bad. Whoa! Very sideways from him there as well, but
second, Bennyworth on the medium time, saving the softs for race 3. Aidan Carter using the softs now. We look for a send up the inside. Aidan ended up being the big loser at the end of race 1. Tried to pass Chris Wilson the last corner, got spun around and everything, and then just lost out on the line to Martin Buchan in 5th place by 2,000th of a second. Wanting to make amends here. As you can see, his slim motor winning the chapter, slipping away, takes a very wide line coming into turn 1. Hard to believe running on lap 6. Huge slide from Ben Bennyworth that time round. And having to go defensive into McIntyre to hold the BMW at bay. So Manley lead Bennyworth now by nearly 5 seconds, well, nearly 5.5 seconds. Wow, Gareth Boyle's just done the fastest lap of the race. He's on his own, he's in last place, he recovered after off at the start, and see Charlie Keir's gone off at McIntyre as well, unfortunately. But yeah, 50.565, Gareth Boyle, number 51, bringing up the rear, and he's just done the fastest lap of the race so far. Great effort, especially when he's on the mediums as well. He's done a time that would have been good enough for pole position.
yeah, so just being told intermittent upshifts for Chris Wilson. I'm not too sure if that's been sorted now because it's looking like he's back on the pace and catching Aidan Carter and Ben Bennyworth in front.
Yeah, and I know that was a problem for John Dean Smith at the end of the Porsche race when he was the back marker being caught at the end of race 1 and everything, and then came up to me just being taken about 3rd gear. So it could be a technical issue there for Chris Wilson. Unfortunately, just not having the luck to get that one on the board in the Astra. Or Ben goes for another trip through the gravel there, but still holding Aidan Carter for now. Lewis Manley very much in the box seats, leading this race by the best part of 6 seconds. We're only on lap 7 out of 24. This will be a huge giant lead. He is 6 seconds in front now. Lewis Manley looking for what would be his 9th race win of the season with 17 races. Fastest lap of the race, a 50.5 by Lewis Manley. So have a comparison as this chasing pack comes across the line, they're well into the 51s.
And just to go a bit further back in the field, Charlie Keir and Ben Crisp really just pushing each other as well at the back for P9.
And that's a recovering Stuart Green and Gareth Ball behind them. I know Charlie Keir's just had it off, so some good battling further down the field. In the battle for 6th place, Martin Buchan is very close to the back of John Dean Smith, so we'll keep an eye on that battle for 6th and 7th. We're just going to do the chicane now. We'll keep an eye on 3rd and 4th as well. Here is John Dean Smith ahead of Martin Buchan.
Yeah, Martin, fastest lap of the race that last time around, a 50.508, which is a ridiculously fast
also,
time.
yeah, would have been good enough for to get the pole position. 50.6 with the pole that was set by Chris Wilson for race 1. So again, like race 1, very early chaos, and now we're settling down into a bit more of a rhythm. Lewis Manley can sit on a very comfortable 6 second lead, with Ben Bennyworth looking in his mirrors, Aidan Carter and Chris Wilson behind. Josh Vincent's doing a great job. An advantage of 3.5 seconds on these. I can see him there in the golf club, just in the back having a shot there. What a great shot that would be for Josh. He can keep it on. That's not helpful.
He's done a few things like that in the last few laps, and He's managed to get away with it so far, but that gap to John is decreasing slowly.
Yes. Yeah, John a 10th quicker in the first sector there, and John back in the 50-second bracket rather than the low 50 ones that Josh is doing. But we want to fill it up for Josh Vincent. So a long way to go though. 9 laps down. Start lap 10. Still another 15 to go. Still 9 astern between the Cupra, BMW, and the Vauxhall. Second, third, and fourth. Pennyworth, Carter, and Wilson in that order. Once again, down the middle of the Cupra, which is flat. Then kicking off and down, dropping down again. John Lee Smith and Martin Buchan again in 6th and 7th. Stick with the battle for second for now as they come back down towards the hairpin at the end of the lap once again. Deadly defensive this time, and Ben will be a nice wide line. Aidan Carter, who's done a fancy job all around the outside. I think Ben was meant to give him some room. Carter gets on the gas. If he's got the power here, I think he's going to get it done. Do what Lewis Manley did earlier to take the lead. He's going to be ahead over the line, but has he got the clearance to get it done? I think Bennyworth might be able to hang on to it with the inside line. Come up to Dufferston, want to get the start of lap 11.
Oh,
right on the sausage curb. That's like Chris Wilson to come and join the fun. He might actually get a
yeah,
Carter,
up
and he
the
has.
inside. Beautiful move, but can he stop him from running wide? That's going to put Aidan back on the pound seat for maybe getting in front of Chris through here. But no, great job. Great race management there from Chris Wilson.
Yeah, Aidan Carter trying to get second, ends up fourth.
Yeah, that's just how quickly it turns around here at Knockhill. But yeah, Chris just put the car in the right place, was following Aidan's sort of line going into turn 1, and then sort of changed his mind as he could see what was going to happen. So great driving from Chris Wilson.
Back up the hill towards lap 11. Lewis Manley's already moved on to lap 12. He is sitting on a very nice lead of just under 6 seconds. He's doing low 51s. He's not pushing it to the limit. He's not at the ultimate pace that he can do. He doesn't need to be in a position that he's in. A wide line by Wilson that time, much tighter from Carter. There's nowhere to go if they come through back in time once again.
Getting quite desperate now for Carter in the championship situation. That points gap as it stands would be increasing quite a lot. I feel like that would be pretty much secure in it.
This would be what, 29. This is what at the moment this would take it up to 36.
Yep, and
so I think I could be right in saying that if Lewis Manley wins this race and Aidan Carter's only 4th, I think Manley would actually win the championship.
I think he would. I think you're
race.
right. And John made a bit of an error at the chicane that's given Martin a good run around the outside at the final hairpin. Is he going to get a really good cutback along the outside? Looks like John's had a decent exit though, so it's going to be a drag race going into turn 1. Martin's going to hope to pull across now, which he does do. So good move there from Martin Buchan, and gets it slowed down nicely for turn 1. A little bit sideways, but great job from Martin Buchan there.
I think 4th would be just enough for Aidan to keep it alive. I think if I'm trying to work out the head as I go along here, if Aidan was to lose one more, play Josh Vincent.
Oh, that's a shame. That's a big shame.
Josh.
Down to P7, so hopefully he can recover in P7. He does, but
P7 would still equal his best result.
It would, so still a good race for Josh. He's been teasing that outside for a while now.
I was about to say, by my reckoning, with Manley winning the race, Aidan would have to finish 4th or better to keep the championship alive. If Manley wins the race and Carter doesn't finish in the top 4 here, Lewis Manley will win the championship in this race.
Wow, that would be quite the season for Lewis Manley if he manages to do that.
In 6 years since Lewis Manley won this championship,
yeah,
he's had a lot of near misses. There's been some controversy in the past, but he has been the driver to beat this year, and he's leading from the front and heading towards win number 9. John Dean Smith and Martin Buchan are having a proper ding-dong still.
They really are.
5th and 6th place. Oh, and hang on, I think they've both gone off because Josh Vincent's back up to 5th.
John Dean Smith has gone off and Martin Buchan has also gone off, so I think they have come together there.
Oh, what a shame. The silver lining being that it has promoted Josh Vincent back into 5th place.
Yeah, so he'll be happy to see it. It looks like Martin, so Martin goes off the circuit. We'll just cut across this onto the footage. So Martin loses control at turn 1, goes across the grass, and then rejoins right where John is.
Martin.
So I think that's going to be a pretty slap bang penalty for Martin there, I'm afraid,
Martin.
because that is a dangerous rejoin.
I'm not angry, Martin, I'm just disappointed.
It's a shame. That is a shame. You don't normally see Martin making errors like that, but it happens. I think that's quite a slap back on there, to be fair.
I don't think Martin can have any complaints about that one.
No, I think he'll put his hands up and say, yeah, that's completely fair. And unfortunately, John is now down in P7 because of that. So Dale Cripps jumps up to P6 though from that too.
If it is as it is at the moment, then basically the only way that Aiden could win the keep the championship alive in race 3 would be by winning race 3 with Lewis literally last. By my reckoning, so Lewis would only need to finish in the top 11 out of 12.
So if Aiden comes P3, it's a slightly more hopeful chance, but let's be honest,
he would add a couple of points.
Yeah,
it's increasingly likely if he wins this race that Lewis Manley is going to win the championship today. But if Aiden stays where he is, it won't quite be in race 2.
Yeah, and we can't take anything away from Lewis Manley whatsoever. Absolutely brilliant championship this year. Aiden has pushed Lewis where he can, but in terms of the championship domination, it's been all about Lewis this year.
Be interesting because I know he's been umming and ahhing it all season whether Aiden does feel he picked the wrong car in hindsight, because I know he didn't like it over the course of the season. Gareth Balls has got another off towards the back. I don't know, where is that? So I've just seen a clip of it.
Exit of turn 2.
Yeah, the only one part that he's on the money.
Yeah, he flew off. Him and Stuart were side by side going into turn 1, and Gareth was just full on lift off oversteer and didn't really correct it in time.
So 8 laps to go. Bennyworth, Wilson and Carter still line astern, 2nd, 3rd and 4th. I think Martin Buchan has had another off. Trying to see if he's penalty or anything. I can't see.
No, I think he was held up by the Pringle Boyle incident there.
Yeah, it could be. He's walked up to now. So Josh Binford, Dale Crisp been sick. That might be one of his best finishes as well.
Yep.
Get my results. And Dale Crisp best finish is he has had a 6th. He was 6th in race 2 at Thruxton. So Josh Binton on for a best ever. Dale Crisp on for an equal best ever.
And Chris Wilson now really starting to look impatient behind Ben Bennyworth, thinking I really want to get this done and at least get a P2 from this, because Chris will be feeling like he's lost out on potentially 2 victories today.
Yes, 7 laps to go, so still plenty of time for his to get the job done as they come towards Duffers Dip.
Charlie Keir has lost control in sector 1. Hopefully he'll rejoin before these guys get there. He does, but it's quite close.
Very much a case of eat or be eaten once again for Chris Wilson. Does he ever go at Pennyworth or leave himself at risk to overtake by Carter? Exactly how Carter lost that 3rd place earlier on in this race.
So Martin Buchan's also all over the back of Stuart Pringle at the moment, trying to recover into P7, so we'll keep an eye on that too. But yeah, it's P7 and flowing this gap for P2. It now looks like Chris under pressure from Aiden as Aiden goes right round the outside. Going to get a really nice run down into the start-finish straight. So can Aiden get it done? No, I don't think he's got enough overlap, although saying that, he's had a hell of an exit from the corner and is now completely side by side. Yeah, I think he must be. And look at this, going into turn 1, late on the brakes, but Chris holds him off, but is completely sideways doing so. What a beautiful bit of defensive driving from Chris Wilson.
Yeah, very good. He gave Aiden enough room on the exit of the hairpin coming up the hill as well. So very hard but very fair racing, as you'd expect from these two very experienced drivers. And it gives Ben Bennyworth a little bit of breathing space in that 2nd place at the front. We're into the last quarter of the race now, lap 19 out of 24. Gareth Boyle's done another fastest lap, having had that huge off. God knows what state his tyres in, a 50.415. Absolutely stunning lap time of Gareth Boyle, but not having the consistency to that today. He's down to 10th place. So, what's the line again? Manley already crossed the line, still 5 seconds to good. He's doing 51.60.
Buckets off again.
Round. We're into the last 5 laps. Bennyworth, Wilson, Cart having another look at him. Blue Duffers Dip again on lap 20.
Looking as it stays the same. Buchan really pushing hard to try and get in front of Stuart, but he's making more mistakes doing so than he is getting close to overtaking him. So we'll see if he gets a chance to make the move. But I've seen him off the track about 4 times in the last 3 laps. Yeah, this does not feel like the Martin Buchan that we all know.
You can tell he has another the touring car around 6 months, can't you?
just a bit rusty.
Right on the back of Stuart Pringle now on this battle for 8th place. They come up to Jim Clark curve again. A little bit more defensive, so Buchan can take the right line, try to get a good run on the way down to the hairpin. Pringle going defensive on the right hand side, so Buchan forced to go to the left. That'll put him on the outside of the hairpin. He might try and do the old wheel of death all the way around the outside if possible. And they come.
Nice clear defensive driving from Stewart. He does run Martin quite wide there. I don't think Martin would have been too impressed with that, but
No, I think that's just
it's on the limit.
room.
Yeah, it's on the limit.
Martin just took avoiding action, but it's me. Stewart has still got the driver and the inside line. The Duffers dip once again. 4 laps to go. Still no change of that for second, third, and fourth place. Josh Vincent still in fifth. He's got 7 seconds on John Dean Smith. He's on the great result. John Dean Smith has overtaken Dale Chris. JDS back over to P6.
And look at this, Carter going for a move on Chris again. Chris was thinking about a move around the outside on Bennyworth, but has lost a lot of time on the exit, so that's put Aiden right into play. Possibly thinking about using the hybrid once again, but doesn't manage to get through as Chris puts it on 2 wheels through turn number 1.
Yeah, less than 3 laps to go now. There is the battle between Pringle and Buchan. 8th and 9th. So John Lee Smith there was just past Dale Chris, which I think is a 6th point you can see further up the hill. We've got 2.5 laps to go now. 3 laps to go for these guys, as they're just over 30 seconds off the lead. And Buchan having a big one now. Pringle is going to go up the inside at Duffer's Dip. Here he comes.
Nicely done.
Very nicely done indeed. A nice clean move there. And Martin Buchan back up into 8th place.
Stewart's looking up the
gonna go
inside.
back in.
Thought about it.
Very really did though, and just managed to get out of it at the last minute. We go back to this battle for second place with 2 laps to go. Manley's just crossed the line. The lead has come down to 3.8 seconds, but I think it's very much managing the gap, and this is as close as Carter's been for a while now to Chris Wilson. Going to try that sweeping line on the outside, try and get a better line from Duffers Dip. Gavin go the inside at McIntyre.
Nice run up the inside. No. I thought he was going to get a run there, but it wasn't as good as it looked initially.
No. So only a lap and a half to go now. So Aiden Carter running out of laps, running out of opportunity to get himself onto the podium and getting a bit of revenge on Chris Wilson after he lost out at the final corner of that battle in race 1. This John Dean Smith, Dale Chris been staying with him to his credit. This is about for 6th and 7th between the 2 foci, as that is the plural. And here's Wilson and Carter once again. You see Bennyworth just ahead. He's got just enough of a gap to keep them at arm's length. Manley crossed the line now to start the last lap. Bennyworth second. Wilson goes defensive as they come back up the hill. They're on to the last lap now.
Yeah, very defensive there from Wilson very early. Just showing Aiden where he's going to put the car. And whoa!
And surely Aiden's going to have a go now.
No, thinks better of it. Thinks better of it.
Limits and then some. So on to the last lap through Butchers up towards the chicane. With Lewis Manley's going to win the race and come within about a point of winning the championship. Ben Bennyworth, it looks like he's going to get a second place of the afternoon. But who is going to finish third? Will it be Chris Wilson? Got very, very on, almost onto the gravel there. I think got just enough in hand. It's going to be another full send by Aiden Carter, like he did in race 1 unsuccessfully. If he's to get this place, here they come. Aiden has a look, goes to the outside and thinks better of it this time. But no doubt about your race winner, a 9th win of the season. He comes up to the line for Lewis Manley, who comes with the championship. It's going to be almost a photo finish for third. It's going to be very, very close over the line. And Chris Wilson got it by 500ths of a second. Aiden Carter got a great run out the last corner and almost managed to out-drag him. So Manley beats Bennyworth, Wilson and Carter. Josh Vincent's going to finish 5th. A great, best ever result for him. We were really hard all the way through the season. Great result team. John Dean Smith, the race 1 winner, recovers to finish in 6th place. Then it's going to be Dale Cribb. Martin Buchan, 8th, penalty pending, I would say. I think that's likely he's going to get a penalty for taking out JDS, and then it's going to be Stuart Pringle, Gareth Boyle, who can at least console himself by taking fastest lap of the race, Charlie Kidd, and Ben Chris. Now, by my reckoning, Lewis Manley has a 36-point lead, and that leaves 12 cars in the field that has locked that unless Aiden Carter wins race 3 and Lewis Manley finishes plumb last. Lewis Manley will clinch the championship in the final race of the afternoon.
Strange things have happened, but it must be said it's looking very safe for Lewis now.
He's just got to beat 1 car.
Yeah, and Lewis will know that.
Yeah. And
will drive. Well, he'll want to win the championship for a win.
Yes, and I mean I hope we get 12 in the reverse grid now, just so he's starting last. So yeah, Lewis Manley is potentially within just 1 point or 1 place of winning the championship race 3, but he's taken the 9th win of the season in race 2 ahead of Ben Bennyworth and Chris Wilson. Stay with us, race 3, round 18 is just around the corner, potentially a new champion. welcome back to Knockhill for our third and final touring car race today, round 18 of the championship. Reverse grid is 7, so Dale Crisp is on reverse grid pole for the third event in a row. John Dean Smith's already got 1 win today, they want another, starting second. Josh Vincent third on the back of his best ever result. Aidan Carter in 4th, must win this race to have any chance of keeping the championship alive. Chris Wilson and Ben Bennyworth are 5th and 6th. Lewis Manuel, race 2 winner, is in 7th, more than championship permutation at the moment. Martin Buchan is in 8th place, and Stuart Pringle, Gareth Boyle, Charlie Keir and Ben Crisp ran out with the whole field in a crisp sandwich with the 2 crisps at either end of the field. So we've tried to crunch the numbers with the drop scores and the permutations, and we've worked out that the only way that Aidan Carter can keep this championship alive at this stage is if he wins this race and if Lewis Manley finishes 12th and last. Any other outcome, either Aidan doesn't win the race or Manley finishes 11th or better, and Lewis Manley will clinch the championship with a full round to spare. But it's race 3, it's Knockhill, Grant, anything could happen.
Yeah, I don't... Like, Lewis is going to feel quite comfortable, but I think he should wait until the end of this race before celebrating at all, because... Oh, that's...
Someone... It's got Stuart again, is it? Well, either Stuart or Gareth Boyle has gone off on the warm-up lap. They're next to each other on the grid, so it could be... I don't know which one it was.
Gareth, actually. Yeah, because look, Stuart's already in position. I think he only went a bit wide. Yeah, I think he only went a little bit wide.
Yeah, the only reason I thought Stuart, because I know it has happened a few times with Stuart this season. So
unfortunately, but you know, luckily it wasn't him.
Yeah, no harm done, and they were able to resume his position on the grid. So Dale Crisp, yet again on reverse grid pole. It's my fault. I did the draw, so I'm the one responsible. But John Dean Smith, I think, will fancy his chances here of getting in number 3 on the board. Dale Crisp's record in those reverse grid races at Alton Park from pole he finished 10th, and at Croft he finished 8th, so we'll hope for better this time around. 7th place, 1 place short of his best finish of the season. There is Dale Crisp. You see John Dean Smith in the blue and yellow alongside, then Josh Vincent and Aidan Carter on row 2. 7 cars are starting, including John Dean Smith, on the soft tyre for this third and final race, and away we go. Finale at Knockhill is underway.
Looked like a good start from John there, straight into first place. Is he going to get the cut across done into turn 1? Yes, he does, and Aidan straight into P2 as well, around the outside.
Oh, Josh Vincent's going to go round. He's going to take Chris Wilson with him.
That's a shame there.
So it's Dean Smith Carter, then Dale Crisp just forcing out Ben Bennyworth. Oh, collision, that's maybe Bennyworth off. Big off for Ben Bennyworth, 2 seconds. He's not going to make that today. And that means Lewis Manley's already up into 4th.
Buchan's off as well. Dale Crisp off there, Ben Crisp off there in the background too. So lots and lots of chaos on this early lap. Lewis Manley just thinking, right, I'm in P4 now, so...
I think it might be about to come P3 because he's lined up Dale Crisp really, really well. They come up to the hairpin for the first time. Here they come. I think Stuart Pringle's going to come and enjoy the fun as well if he can get the room, and he just squeezes him out a little bit of contact, but I think he's got through as well. So Manley up to 3rd, Pringle up to 4th. They are both on the soft tyre in this race. There are 7 drivers out the 12 on the soft. We'll keep you up to speed as the race goes on. It's Dean Smith, Carter, Manley, Pringle, Crisp and Boyle after that spin on the warm-up lap, completing the top 6 at the end of lap 1 of 24.
Pringle nearly completely flipping end over end going through turn 2 at Knockhill. Very common thing to see at Knockhill, but that was pretty on edge there. But really nice racecraft there from Stuart following Lewis through. And John's going to be happy once again. A nice lead at the start of the race. It's feeling a bit deja vu.
It is, and of course he's got the advantage being on the soft tyres here with Aidan Carter. He's not. Lewis Manley over 3 seconds behind him, 3rd, but it does kick that bit off. That might have been the recovering Ben Bennyworth. So it's Dean Smith, Carter, Manley, Pringle. We're watching Dale Crisp in 5th there, ahead of Gareth Boyle, then Bennyworth, Charlie Keir in the pink Mr. Blobby Mobile in 8th place. And that looked like, Chris Wilson was trying to get past Ben Crisp and went off on the exit of the hairpin trying to get past him.
Ben Crisp that's off. Wilson stayed on the circuit.
Oh, was it? Okay, I apologise.
And
big move. Oh, that's up. Pringle on Manley.
He's overdone it and rejoins in front of Manley. Just misses him. Very lucky there as Dale is holding off Gareth, like his life depends on it, as Stuart then rejoins the circuit. But Lewis's heart would probably have been in his mouth right there.
Yeah, the point where he's on the cusp of clinching the championship. There's nobody would have wanted. Dale Crisp on the gravel again. He's back in 4th place. You've got Gareth Boyle all over the back of him. Gareth Boyle looking for a good result.
And that's Charlie Keir off in the background.
Gareth Ball has had one podium in race 3 at Thruxton, but he hasn't had a top 5 since then. So we've gone for a better result here. He's ahead of Dale Chris now and up into 4th place. So John Dean Smith leads by more than 3 seconds, Baden Carter, with Lewis Manley another 2 seconds further back in 3rd.
What a start to the race from John Dean Smith as Ben Bennyworth is looking up the inside of Dale Crisp and gets the job done going into turn 1 as well.
Yeah, I know Aidan Carter's back on the medias. He said he didn't really get any benefit from running the softs at all in race 2. Didn't like them, but he's not really able to match the softer shod pace of John Dean Smith at the moment.
Well,
Aidan a little bit quicker in sector 1, so maybe he's just getting those tyres up to temperature.
No one is really. I mean, Honda, the only drivers in the 50-second lap times other than Martin Buchan, who's absolutely flying in sector 1 on this lap, it must be said, is Martin, as unfortunately Charlie Keir goes off again.
Typical race 3 for Knockhill so far as we come towards the end of lap 4. John Dean Smith, I think, has already just crossed the line now. There's another fastest lap, 50.7, using those soft tyres to good effect. Aidan Carter second is 3.6 seconds behind now. Manley third. There's a side-by-side there. That's Josh Vincent and the recovering Martin Buchan. This is for 8th and 9th places. Buchan's got the inside for the first corner. Can he get the job done? To be fair to Josh, he's given as good as his guys. Martin's lost it.
Has he learned? Yes, he has. He didn't just keep his foot in that time and try and rejoin. But
no, he didn't.
That's a big loss of time for Martin there.
Oh. Bad day at the office, Martin
Real
Buchan. You don't
bad
say very often. Oh my God, still synchronised spinning. Josh Vincent is off. Ben Crisp is off.
Woof.
And there are touring cars scattered across a large part of virtual Scotland.
As Lewis Manley sets the fastest lap of the race of 50.660, bringing the gap down to Aidan Carter to 1.6 seconds.
John Dean Smith responds with a 50.5. He's getting quicker and quicker all the time, making full advantage of the soft. He now leads by more than 4 seconds. Lewis Manley is 1.5 by Aidan Carter in 3rd. Gareth Ball's in a solid 4th.
Fastest lap.
Less than a second behind Lewis Manley himself. And Gareth Ball, 50.505. He got fastest lap in race 2. And he got fastest lap so far in race B. Gareth Ball's 1 lap pace has been really good all day.
It has been. Josh Vincent's got a penalty.
Oh, Manley's off.
Lewis Manley is off the circuit. He rejoins. It's still okay for him championship-wise. He's only lost a couple of positions, so he's okay. Just got to keep it on the grey stuff. Maybe just pushing that a little bit too hard trying to catch Aidan.
Yep, it moves Gareth Ball up to 3rd, and Ben Bennyworth, who was off there in the first lap, is now back up into 4th place.
Yeah, Lewis Manley, like, very rare mistake from Lewis Manley, but he shouldn't be he shouldn't worry too much about that.
Or big send from Chris Wilson there on Dale Chris. Wilson's up to 6th.
Wilson is up to 6th because Ben Chris puts in the fastest first sector of anybody by an absolute mile. Very quick first sector there from Ben.
So you can't take your eyes off it, because every time you look somewhere, or we look at some of the other screens or in the combots, there's position changing. Here's Aidan Carter now in a relatively secure 2nd. Gareth Ball is 2.4 seconds behind him in 3rd, and then just behind him, Ben Bennyworth is in 4th. Lewis Manley recovering is in 5th place. He's 1.6 behind Bennyworth. And then we are now watching. There's Manley recovering, and then here's Wilson, who's just passed Dale Chris, but Dale Chris once again. Oh, Ben Crisp, I can tell you, has gone off the road again at McIntyre. You see a bit of gravel and being kicked up in the background there, so not been a good day for him at all.
Gareth on for another fast lap this time round, a 17.9 in sector 1, almost like it's a qualifying session for him.
Yep, he had a 2nd place in race 3 at Thruxton, Gareth. His next best result was a 5th. That was in race 3 in the season opener at Donington. 50.3, that is rapid from Gareth Boyle. He is absolutely on it, and he's now only 1.9 seconds behind Aidan Carter.
Yeah, brilliant drive so far from Gareth Boyle. Just got to keep it on the grey stuff though. Don't overdrive the car.
On the sauce. Well, 50.1 from Martin Buchan.
Anything you can do, I can do.
We should clarify. So John Dean Smith's on the softs, as Gareth Boyle is. Ben Bennyworth's on the softs. Lewis Manley is on the softs. Josh Vincent, Stuart Pringle, Martin Buchan. Those are the 7 drivers in the field who are all running the soft tyre in race 3, hoping to take full advantage of absolute chaos. Ben Crisp is off the road again. It is not his day at all. At the front, John Dean Smith is a 51.1 that time round. Aidan Carter 50.9. Gareth Ball 50.7. John Dean Smith's lead is just under 3.6 seconds. 8 laps gone, 16 to go.
Yeah, John on for like a very dominant performance in this race for John. Like, really just kept that gap growing. Now just putting in a nice consistent pace through the race itself. Not the fastest lap the last time round of 51 compared to Aidan's 50.9. But if he just manages that gap till the end, it's pretty smooth going.
Absolutely. Aiden Carter in second place. Well, he needs to finish first or second, or this would be his points-wise his worst round of the whole season with the results he's had so far. We look now at Martin Buchan on the charge, trying to recover in 10th place, chasing down Stuart Pringle. We didn't see it on camera, but Stuart Pringle actually got rolled over at the hairpin at the end of the first lap of race 2.
Well, we saw him enter the shot on his side, and then
yes,
it cut away.
It turned out that car had very much turned turtle. So, not Stuart's best day, because he's had a reverse grid win this year already at Alton Park. We focus on Pringle and Buchan in 9th and 10th. I think this is more or less one of the closest battles on the track at the moment. He's got a little bit more spread out between everybody. There's only a second between Ben Bennyworth and the recovering Lewis Manley now. So Manley doing what he needs. This result will undoubtedly give him the championship with one full round to spare. The final round of the championship, don't forget, coming up on the 14th of April on the Brands Hatch Grand Prix circuit. It looks like both championships are going to be decided. There's still plenty of racing action enjoying the Porsche Challenge and the touring cars in 4 weeks' time. So don't miss that final round. I will be, because I'm on holiday.
Yeah.
But apart from that, everyone else will get to enjoy it in my absence, I'm sure.
We will miss you greatly, Dan. It's going to be a very lonely commentary box.
Yes, yep, it will. I'm not that. I'm in Austin for MotoGP. I'm not that sorry. Is there anywhere I'd rather be than simply race? Yes, I'd rather be in America watching motorbikes.
I mean, there's a chance I'll be in Spa during one of our sprint championship races.
Yeah,
That'll
we need to have a chat about that.
Oh, really?
Yeah, we'll do it off air.
Okay.
We can do it on air. No, sorry. Just in terms, I need to check. Just anyway. Or shout.
Sure.
I think that might have been that was Gareth.
I think it was.
Well, no, I think it's Stuart. Well, Martin Buchan's got past
Stuart.
Stuart. He's got past Dale Crisp as well. I've got a feeling it might have been a collision between the two of them.
I don't know if it's a collision, but I definitely heard a little sound come from Stuart from outside the room, so I think that was either driver error or an incident.
Meanwhile, Aiden Carter is starting to reel in John Dean Smith. He was nearly 7/10 of a second quicker last time round. That gap, which was about 4 seconds at one point, is down to less than 2.5, and he's bringing Gareth Boyle along for the ride with him, because he's just a 1.5 behind in third. Lewis Manley getting also closer to the back of Ben Bennyworth as he tries to recover his way back into fourth.
Yep, so maybe a very, very exciting end to this race, and we'll watch Manley and Bennyworth, as it is definitely the closest battle on circuit by quite some margin. It's a very odd race, this one. It's played out very differently to how all the others have, where it's been super close throughout the whole race.
It's been an odd day.
It has been a very odd day.
None of the races, well, I've had 5 today in total, including this one, and none of them have delivered anything like what we were expecting.
No, this one feels a bit like a race 1, though, at the moment. I don't know about you. Not saying that to take detriment from race 1.
Charlie Keir is coming to the pits. I don't know whether it's mechanical, or I know he was at the back anyway, so maybe he's just tried to turn it in, and that is that's Ben Crisp off again. Just taking too much curve with the chicane, quite quickly. And unfortunately, slight anticlimax. If Charlie Keir has pitted and retired, that makes
Lewis Manley the champion.
That makes Lewis Manley the champion
default,
because he can't finish last. So slight anticlimax there, but assuming Charlie Keir doesn't come back out of the pits, that makes Lewis Manley your 2023-24 Simply Race Touring Car Champion.
I can't see that he's got out. It doesn't look like he's got out, so
let's have a look. Oh, no,
he's back on track again. Maybe just put some new softs on.
He is 2 laps down.
Yeah.
So Lewis Manley not confirmed as champion yet, but as good as. John Dean Smith has taken the lead back out. He's responded with a 50.6 that lap. So he's got the lead back out to nearly 2.9 seconds now. Amid all that and all the Charlie Keir stuff, we missed the fact that Gareth Boyle went off.
Yeah, Charlie Keir is now 3 laps down.
Yeah, Charlie Keir, Gareth Boyle had an off somewhere because he's fallen from 3rd back to 6th, because Bennyworth and Manley is now the fight for 3rd place.
Yeah, it is, yeah. We did completely miss that.
Yep, we did completely miss that. Apologies for that. But Gareth Boyle is still going, but he's down to 6th place.
So this is the closest battle on circuit still. Manley versus Bennyworth.
Well, I don't know. Martin Buchan's right on the back of Josh Vincent.
Yes, he is. Where did that one come from? Let's see how that one's going. If the camera will track that. There we go. Apologies. Knockhill's got some great artistic shots to it, but it automatically cuts to them sometimes, which is a little bit frustrating.
Yeah, some of the camera shots we've had today have been very odd.
Yes, I would like to apologise for that. It's out of our control, as it does cut through them, And that looks like Charlie Keir is going back into the pit lane as well.
Yeah, now here comes Martin Buchan. He can have a go up the inside of Josh Vincent. Can he get it done? I think he can. Yeah, that's a much. That's the kind of move we expect to see from the likes of Martin Buchan to get himself back up into 7th place. I think he may need a mistake though to get any further, because Gareth Boyle in 6th is more than 11 seconds up the road.
Yes. Now Lewis Manley's not going to know that Charlie Keir is like several laps down, and he's not going to know that Ben Crisp is a lap down.
Of course, all this is academic, because even if he doesn't get that position, Aiden would need to win the race, and he's still 2.5 seconds behind John Dean Smith. Fastest middle sector of the race by Gareth Boyle. He is still absolutely on it. He's on another 50.3. He's at a 50.2. Fastest of the race is a 50.1 at the moment by Martin Buchan. And Gareth Boyle is right on the back of Chris Wilson as we get an intensifying battle for 5th place. There they are, coming through Butchers and up to the chicane. Lap 16 of 24. John Dean Smith with a 2.2 second advantage. Oh, Gareth in the gravel. Keep your foot in. Keep your foot in. That's it. That's it. That's what we like to see. Gareth, very much an if in doubt, flat out kind of driver.
Yes, definitely. And it sometimes works and sometimes really doesn't, unfortunately.
Yeah, but on his day, as we've seen with some of the lap time we're doing here, he is a very, very quick driver indeed, hoping to pick up what would be one of his best results of what has been a very much up and down season for the man in the orange machine, number 51.
I would argue it's been a bit of an up and down day for him as well.
Yes.
We've got a yellow in sector 1. I'm wondering if that's Charlie Keir once again.
Yeah, Charlie is still circulating. He's now 5 laps down.
I'm not really sure what's going on there, if I'm honest with you.
No.
It looks quite slow when
Charlie's not really a rage. Oh, look at Manley really pushing it through the chicane. I say Charlie's not really a rage quit.
He's stopped in the pit lane, I think.
He has stopped in the pit lane and done. So I think now, because of that, we can officially confirm Lewis Manley as the champion.
Yes. I mean, with only 7 laps of the race to go, him being 4 laps off of the next car in front of him, I think that's pretty safe to say.
And I mean, Lewis has been racing here for a very, very long time. It's his first championship for 6 years now. He's had a couple, I know, of near misses over the intervening. He comes and gets some very, very strong drivers as well. But he has been the driver to beat. He's been strong every weekend. He's won, assuming he's not going to win this one, he's won half the races, 9 out of 18.
Yeah, he told me his target this season is 10 race wins.
So he's got
3 races after this
to get one more.
To potentially get one more. I mean, he might get one today, but it's looking quite unlikely now.
John Dean Smith still with a 1.9 second advantage over Aidan Carter with, just over 6 laps to go.
Yeah, so I think that's going to be a permanent yellow in sector 1. So I'm just
Wilson and Boyle are catching these two. There's only 2.4 seconds between the two pairs. You've got Bennyworth and Manley here in 3rd and 4th, and you've got Wilson and Boyle in 5th and 6th. Close pass as well a bit further back. Josh Vincent just being caught by Stuart Pringle there, nose to tail in 8th and 9th as we go into the last quarter.
5-second penalty for Stuart Pringle for an incident with Dale, Chris.
Okay, that's not something, I don't think it's something we saw on camera. But yeah, penalty there for Stuart, which at the moment, to be honest, in terms of time, he's not going to actually make a difference to his position. He would still be in 9th, which is where he is on the road. So lap 19, Bennyworth still with Manley on his tail. Manley's still pushing on. Obviously, yeah, he won't know that Charlie Keir has stopped, but the championship is secure for Lewis Manley now with the drop scores. Oh, Bennyworth's off. That will give Manley the opportunity. Oh, they're getting some contact and everything. Bennyworth was weaving a bit when he came back on. Manley on the grass trying to get past and everything. I think there might be some words in the steward room about that afterwards, just looking at Bennyworth's rejoin. But he has managed to hang on to the position for the time being with 5 laps to go.
He has. A man who's going to want to seal this championship with a top 3, isn't he? Let's be honest.
Yes.
Like, it'd be a nice way to win the season still with 3 races to go, which is absolutely mind-blowing, to be honest. For a touring car championship, that's insane.
Yeah, I think that the drop score element of the point system comes into play there. Obviously, Lewis, like Aidan Carter, is not... he's going to go off there. Oh, he's done well to gather that up again. It's very even. Corner McIntyre, we saw Lewis go off there earlier in the race to make an error and struggle to get it back on the track as the track keeps curving round to the right. We've got to keep an eye on the leaders as well, because Aidan is still reeling in John Dean Smith. The gap's down to 1.4 now. They've got just over 4 laps to go. So John, looking for a 2nd win of the day and a 3rd of the season, is not going to have much room for error as we go into the last 4 laps of this race.
No, that gap really has come down. I'm just wondering if Aidan's just tried managing these tyres through most of the race and thinking, right, let's go for one big assault at the end, see what we can do,
Well, look at Wilson as well. He's only 1.1 seconds behind Manley now.
Yep.
So don't rule out Chris, who's definitely still pushing on to try and get himself back on towards the podium finish as well.
Yeah, and it's again been an up and down day for Chris. Potential, like definitely one race victory lost.
Oh, error from Bennyworth. Error from Bennyworth. That might give Manley opportunity. Bennyworth did very well not to go off because he missed the 8. Oh, Gareth Ball spun at the back. Gareth Ball's just spun at the back. He's got a 14-second advantage from Martin Buchan, so he might hold on to 6th place as he gathers it up again, but very easy to come through that chicane, particularly with worn tyres late in the race. It's Bennyworth and Manley, 3rd and 4th, come back through the hairpin. They're going to come round to complete lap 21 out of 24. 3 laps to go at Knockhill in round 18. Again, Ben Bennyworth hold on to make it a trio of podiums today ahead of your new champion.
Yeah, it's looking very close here now between these two. And Lewis will probably not want to take any risks, but he will really want that P3. He probably still doesn't. Although he would have noticed, I think the car stopped.
Lewis is one of those
now.
people who's been very aware of the race and what's going on around him and everything. So if anyone's going to know, it's going to be him.
Personal best Sector 1 for Aidan Carter, and 18.1, 3 tenths quicker than John in Sector 1 alone, and another tenth in the middle sector.
That gap's down to 1.3, but Aidan can need more than that with only just over 2 laps left.
Yeah, it's going to need a bit of a... I think going to need a bit of help from the racing gods.
Stuart Pringle has passed Josh Vincent on the road, but obviously has that penalty coming, which would knock him back down tonight. And Martin Buchan, because of Gareth Ball's speed, is only 2 seconds behind him, so they could still, actually down to 1.3 now, so we could still see a change for 6th place with 2 laps to go.
Keep an eye on those battles as we see them. But it's got to be said, this is a... Oh, John, that was very sideways.
The lead is down to 1 second.
Yeah, John was completely sideways through the chicane. He needs to just reel it in a little bit, John. Just get it home. Just get it home. Like, you don't need to take unnecessary risks now. Just get the car home.
He has enough in hand to let Aidan go for the send to end all sends, which is something that Lewis Manley might be doing as we focus on the battle for 3rd place here. But I think Bennyworth still just enough in hand for now, unless Lewis goes for a big surprise move into exactly what he's done.
Lovely, John.
Hello.
Beautiful move.
Champion coming through.
There
Manley gets up into 3rd.
Absolutely
Great
textbook
move.
manoeuvre there. Bennyworth did not see that coming in a million years.
Suddenly, we are on to the final lap of the race. John Dean Smith leads by 1.4 seconds. As Bennyworth coming back on Manley. This is the battle. That's Buchan and Boyle battling it out for 6th spot and everything. They've both had issues in this race, but they're still fighting over that last spot in the top 6. Gareth Ball has regained the place that it looked like Buchan had taken at the hairpin. But on the last lap now, John Dean Smith, there he is. That's how close Aidan Carter's got. But the 3-4 second advantage that John had in the early stages has been enough for him to come all the way as he comes down to the hairpin, the very last corner. It's going to be a 2nd win of the day. I imagine probably the round win, but we'll have to do the maths. Aidan Carter keeping him honest. John Dean Smith wins round 18 from Aidan Carter right behind him in 2nd place. The gap.
Oh, Ben Bennyworth's jumped Lewis Manley. Oh no, he's lost it again.
He's on the very last corner. We just missed it. Lewis Manley finishes 3rd. He is your 2023-24 Simply Race Touring Car champion. Ben Bennyworth settles for 4th position, and there's going to be again Chris Wilson is going to finish 5th, and then we just wait for, I think Martin Buchan's got ahead of Gareth Boyle.
Yes, he did. He did at the line, I believe.
Got ahead of him,
we've
yet
still
Martin
got
Buchan.
Josh Vincent and Stuart Pringle. Vincent round the outside trying to get the undercut to get across the line. Oh, leaves him the room, and it's being closed. It's a little bit cheeky pushing him into the pit lane there.
As they come across the
line.
43,000 between them, but then of course Stewart's going to have a penalty applied, so it will still be 8th place.
Which he won't know
Josh
about
Vincent.
yet, to
No,
be fair. And then Dale Crisp in P10, Ben Crisp P11, and Charlie Keir retiring from the race. So well done.
An odd day.
Yeah, very odd day.
My closing remarks.
A very odd day, but well done to John Dean Smith. That was a textbook victory there.
Yeah, and he's been the most consistent driver in the field through the afternoon.
John is going to really hope that this is now the start of something like new for him. Ending this year strong, going into Brands Hatch, he's going to have a lot of confidence after these drives today. Maybe next season he could put up a really good challenge into the championship.
It also gives him a good chance of maybe overhauling Chris Wilson and getting 4th spot.
Genuinely, in all honesty, that was a champion's drive from him today, and if he doesn't win the event, he does deserve to. Lewis Manley, great job from our new champion. Well, I say new champion, it's I believe his 4th, potentially 5th Simply Race Touring Car Championship.
But first in 6 years.
But first in 6 years, yes, but you've got to remember, they do cross over for 2 years, where they do cover 2 years, so it's not as crazy as it sounds in a way. It's like 3 seasons, I believe.
So, don't forget, if you want to have a go, we've got one more round to come, Brands Hatch Grand Prix, April the 14th. That'll be live on YouTube on the stream. You'll be able to watch it on demand as well, or you can come visit simracing.co.uk and come around and try any of the tracks and cars you've seen today, or pretty much anything else you can think of for that matter. So Brands coming up on April the 14th. I won't be there, so thank you all very much all for your company this season. I'll see you all for the Sprint Challenge when that gets underway in May. But it's me signing off. Thank you very much for joining us, everyone, here at Knockhill, and congratulations to your 2023-24 Simply Race Touring Car Champion, Lewis Manley.